So I'm actually doing a bisque firing, so you'll hear that burner in the background. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And here are the pots that we had in the kiln yesterday, minus one that I had to give to the person who made it. I will start with this little bottle, which actually I didn't make. Karen made this, but I glazed it. And it's definitely got some problems. So you see there's a bunch of bubbles, which is really a sign of not being fired properly, and possibly the glaze being too thick. And there's some drips. People have varying opinions about drips. I decided not to clean those off. I wish I could get this focused better. So that's that one. It's got some interesting little smoky marks there, which is kind of fun. The inside is actually really pretty. Some parts of it anyway. So, one thing you should know about raku is that these can't be used for eating or drinking, and generally they don't hold water. They're too porous. So it's not that they have lead in the glazes or anything like that, but they absorb stuff and you can't clean them. So this is a lamp base that Karen made. Again, I don't know if she hasn't seen it yet, so she might want it. There's a little hole for the cord to come out. This is pretty nice. Although, you know, a lot of my goal for this firing was to learn about these glazes, so these areas where it's black, completely black, there's no glaze, and that just got, you know, basically smoked in the kiln. Some of the glazes are matte, so you can maybe hear that. That's pretty rough. It's kind of like very, very fine sandpaper. And then some of them are glossy. When we take stuff out of the kiln, we really look at these details and look for these really pretty areas. Like that's a little bit iridescent right there. The inside is kind of unremarkable, only a little bit of glaze in it because nobody's going to see it. This one is actually pretty cool, even though it's kind of an abomination in terms of the amount of bubbling and cratering that is really the sign of a firing gone wrong. It's probably was too hot. I'm not sure. I have to learn all this. All my training is informal. So I rely on my niece, Baven, who went to Alfred, and the other members of my family. So these markings on the side are brush strokes that I did with wax resist so that glaze wouldn't cover those areas. And there's a couple different, like there's a white glaze here, and I can't remember which glaze this is. Anyway, they overlap and create different effects. I kind of like the way this looks, even though, like I said, all that bubbling and stuff, I mean, that's sharp too. You could cut yourself on that. But this is really pretty cool. This is pretty. You actually can't see it as well in the video. And this too. Very interesting stuff. So, here's the inside. that's that one. Here's another little jar that I made. I made the last two. I made the rest of them. Nope, actually there's another bottle Karen made. This also has some interesting, some terrible bubbling, but interesting patterns from where the glazes overlapped. Also in raku you see these little crackles because when the changes in temperature when you take it out of the kiln and it gets exposed to the cooler air and everything. And this has also, you can't see it very well, but this really pretty area right here. And then the inside is mostly white. So I'm going to take a bunch of notes on all of this and try to learn how to make glazes that consistently look good. Here's a little bowl that I made. More bubbling, unfortunately. But this is kind of pretty. This is that blue, smoky raku effect. That's from that particular glaze. This is one of those glazes that is not glossy. And this glaze was very thick, so it crackled like that. It cracked when it was dry. I really like this kind of effect, this in raku. So that's that one. This one has some really nice little areas on it. This is this bottle Karen made. It's also bubbling. That's too bad because there's some really nice stuff like all this here. This is really all just effects from the kiln. All this really pretty changes in color, and I don't even know where this little thing came from. I wonder if that was from grabbing it with the tongs. And again, some black from where there was no glaze. So I'm going to have to study this one and figure out what I did, because some of that would be nice to reproduce without all that bubbling. And this is one of the nicer ones, I think. Doesn't have any bubbling on it. I made this bowl. It's got some really interesting effects of the glaze. The inside is just this sort of metallic, slightly iridescent, lustrous copper is the name of that, just to show you a little more up close. And again, this is like that emery board quality. So that one's pretty nice. And then I think these were the most successful. I don't know if you saw my earlier video. These are God boxes, but since I don't really relate to the word God, I like to think of them as dog zobs, which is God box backwards. You write down anything you're having a hard time dealing with, and you throw it in the God box and say, okay, you take care of it for me. So no bubbling on these. These were impressed with rubber stamps. There's this crackling effect. Again, the black is from areas where there was no glaze. I had to not glaze it along there so that the lid wouldn't stick. And yeah, these are actually quite nice. And look at the top. The top is actually quite pretty. It's actually not coming out that well in the video. The inside, not so much to look at. It's fine, but nothing special. Okay. Sorry about that. And here's the other one. Some very nice effects. Another dog zob. So this video is getting to be a little long, so anyway, I just wanted to show you that stuff. If any of these really capture your fancy, or you would like, if you think you'd like a box, for example, I can make some more of those. But this is just the first one, and I'm not only going to be doing raku. I will be doing conventional high-fire pottery as well. But just to give you a taste of, you know, what goes on, why almost none of this would actually be sellable. So that's the land of pottery. Alright, thanks, bye.